Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff, and welcome to the first knife review of 2025. I'm actually filming this in 2024, but we're kicking the year off with a banger, and we're taking a look at this really cool little knife, the Kershaw Mini Iridium.
Oh, Gideon, every knife review you say is a cool knife review.
Well, yeah, and I mean it. I try to only review knives I think are cool, and this one is definitely one. I'm not sure why I decided to have that little outburst right then, but I did, and I can't take it back right now. Except I can. I could stop recording right now, delete this footage, and start over again. But we're not going to. Let's go ahead and get this review started with a blade length measurement. If I can find my ruler. There it is. Get over here, you. So, overall length, 3 inches on the dot. Maybe, it's a skosh under. Maybe if you're in a 3-inch, if you're in a 3-inch jurisdiction, I think you're going to be fine. Especially after one sharpening, you're definitely going to be under 3 inches. I think if the cop is being honest, they're not going to be able to measure this as over 3 inches, but, there you go. Sharpened edge is coming in here. We'll call sharpened edge just 3 inches too, because it's got a little bit of a belly. So, yeah, definitely a mini knife. Let's go ahead and get our size comparisons going. Here's the Ontario Rat Uno and the Dose. So we can see that, yeah, this is a small knife. It's even a little bit shorter than the Rat 2, but overall pretty comparably sized. Let's bring out some USA made comparisons. There's a PM2 and Le Bug Out. Sweet. I do that in a lot of reviews. When I bring out the bug out, I do the stupid French Le Bug Out. I don't know why I do that. Probably because I've got a splash of the tisms. But anyways, bring out the Civivis. Here's the Praxis and the Elementum, or in this case, the Elementum 2. Cool. Let's compare against a couple of other crossbar locks. Here is the CJRB Shale, which is an absolutely amazing knife. And here's kind of an oddball one, but one I just kind of grabbed off the shelf. This is the Schrade Divergent. Really cool, underrated knife. I reviewed this a couple years ago. You can check that out. There we go. Smaller than both of those knives. And let's go ahead and compare against a couple of other Kershaws. I do not have a full-size Iridium, which would probably be the most fitting comparison here, but we'll make do. Here is the Kershaw Highball, which is one of my favorite Kershaw knives ever. Very similarly sized. And here is the Bare Knuckle, a Kershaw Evergreen Classic. Well, really not Evergreen because they discontinued the damn thing because they're idiots. But anyways, you know what I mean. Okay, what are we looking at for the materials here? Well, we have a Spear Point D2 blade with aluminum scales. We have an aluminum backspacer, a steel pocket clip. This is a crossbar lock, and we have steel liners that are pretty much full liners. And we're running on bearings. Let's go cut some stuff. Hey everybody, welcome to a very impromptu review cutting. Guys, the holidays, did they always do? They holidayed. I'm so far behind on knife reviews, it's not even funny. But today we're going to be doing the review cutting for the Kershaw Mini Iridium. It is New Year's Eve, and it's super dark and late out here, but we're going to see what we can do. Anyways, like I said, this is the Kershaw Mini Iridium. I should have had this review done a long time ago. Members are only going to get access like 3 days early access to this video. I'm sorry, guys. But there we go. There's a knife. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's start off with the action. Crossbar lock. Thumb studs. Running on bearings. Very good crossbar lock action. I'd say it's a little bit above average. Not the best I've ever felt, but it's good. The tension on the lock bar could be a little bit stronger, I suppose, but it really doesn't bother me that much. You can see here it's very easy to manipulate. And because it's a crossbar lock with dual thumb studs, it's a lefty-friendly knife, and the pocket clip is reversible. Lefties rejoice. Speaking of that pocket clip, let's go ahead and, actually before we talk about it in and out of the pocket, sort out the ergos. So this is a small knife. If you have larger hands, you're probably going to have some issues with this. It's also got some corners here, but honestly, the ergonomics are pretty good. I like grabbing up on this little shelf here. It feels very, very secure. I feel like I've got a good kind of pinch grip on that blade. You can hold it back here, and it's barely a 4-finger grip if I'm back here, but still comfortable. I know the clip is there. I can feel it, but it's not painful. It's not a hot spot. It doesn't bother me that much. So, yeah, whole lot to like right there. Okay, now let's get it in the pocket. I'm not wearing my jeans right now, so I apologize, but we've got a deep carry clip. Like I said, it is reversible, which is awesome. There's going to be a little bit of the knife sticking out. The clip itself is one of Kershaw's kind of standard clips. It's a good clip. Recessed screws. It's set into the aluminum scales. In and out of the pocket, it's fine. The knife is small, folds up pretty compactly. You know, it's out of the way when it's in your pocket. It's a fairly lightweight knife. Overall, this carries pretty well. I think the clip, or I don't think the clip needs to be this tall, but it is, so, you know, what you gonna do, right? All right, let's go ahead and cut some stuff, shall we? Our blade here is a spear point blade of D2 steel, a very good-looking spear point blade, I might add. I also need to buy new review cutting materials here pretty soon, but that is a problem for a future Gideon, a New Year Gideon. Here we go. Yeah. Because of that spear point blade, you can get to the tip very, very easily. This knife cuts and slices very, very nicely. No complaints whatsoever. We can see right here, put those over there, that we do come down to a nice thin tip. And the blade itself, while thin, is actually pretty robust because of the way they did these swedges, which I like. I think it's always nice when a knife can strike balances like that. Let's go ahead and do a pull through our rope. Felt all right, a little bit tough. Let's go ahead and do some crunches. 1, 2, 3. You know, for a thin blade, that actually did pretty darn well. I'm not disappointed with that at all. Alrighty, and now for the pool noodle, the real test. Let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3. Holy smokes, guys. So there's that first one. I did get caught in the thumb stud right there a little bit, but there's the first one. As for these other ones, yeah, we were getting nice and thin, very crisp. Felt real clean going through. I didn't get hung up. I didn't bind. I didn't rip or tear or twist. Very, very well done blade by Kershaw. And the D2 has held up pretty good in my experience. It's felt like decent D2. As far as D2 goes, this felt like good stuff. So, there's one last look at this very, very attractive little knife. And let's get back to the table. Oh, that was smooth. Alrighty, we're back. Let's get into what I'm liking and not liking about this little knife. Number one, I think this is a good looking knife. It is kind of generic, but it's got some Kershaw flair. And I'm one of those people that really, really likes Kershaw's design aesthetic. They're kind of futuristic, like space punk. I don't know. I like the way their knives look. Honestly, I think a Kershaw pocket knife would not be out of place in the Star Wars universe. I mean, imagine you've got your Kershaw knife in your pocket, your bounty hunter. I can't even speak today. Goodness gracious. Out tracking down some targets. I don't know. Anyways, that aside, the swedge up here looks really, really good. The finish on this aluminum is really nice. It's kind of this icy blue, gray. I don't know. It just looks great. I love the kind of bronze accents. I don't know. It's just a good looking knife to me. I think it's pretty sexy. Next up, this blade is actually a really good blade. D2 steel seems to be holding up pretty good. And this thing does cut and slice very, very nicely. We can see, get down to a decently thin tip. Because of all the swedging though, we're, fairly strong. Not the highest flat grind, but it does work pretty well. The stonewash finish on the blade also looks really, really good. I dig that a whole lot. So yeah, the blade performs pretty well, especially for an EDC knife of this size. Everything you're going to be doing with this knife, small, everyday tasks, this will get it done. So I really, really like that. Let's start with the action. Crossbar lock, thumb studs, very comfortable thumb studs, well placed for both the thumb flick and the reverse flick. We are running on bearings, so we've got that, effortless fall shuttiness. It's a dangler, right? That's what we all like to see with our crossbar locks. Yeah, the action feels really, really good. Blade play, I've got a little bit of up and down right now, just a hair, but that comes and goes a little bit. Sometimes the crossbar locks, yeah, like right now it's pretty solid. There's nothing there, and I could probably adjust the pivot, but yeah, pretty solid action. Crossbar lock is a strong lock, so you got that. It's also an ambidextrous lock, and this is an ambi knife. That clip is reversible. The clip itself is okay. I do like that it's inset into the scales with flat screws. Obviously, I like that it's reversible. Getting the lefties involved. That's great in my opinion. We already talked a little bit about the accents. The ergos on this knife are okay. We'll talk more about the ergos in a little bit, but for me, it's I can get a full 4-finger grip on there. I can choke up a little bit. This knife fits in my hand pretty nicely. The scales are slightly contoured or just kind of chamfered to give them the illusion of being contoured. Fills the hand nicely, especially for a knife that's this small. If you've got hands that are about my size, I've got kind of medium-ish hands, I guess. The way I describe my hands on the channel is I have regular man-sized palms, and then I have short, skinny girl fingers, as you can see here. So for me and my hands, this actually works out pretty nicely. The clip doesn't bother me in the hand all that much. In fact, I know it's there, but it's not a hot spot at all, which I really, really appreciate. Let's go ahead and move on to some negatives. Number one negative is, come on, Kershaw. You could have done a perfect sharpening choil, and you just missed it. You just missed it. Now, I am going to have to sharpen this knife. I've just been honing it since I've been carrying it, but it is getting time for a full resharpening, and there's going to be a big old smile there. So, not really a huge fan of that at all. Next thing, this clip I think is maybe a little bit ugly. It stands up pretty high. Again, it doesn't bother me in the hand, but it's also, it's one of those not deep carry clips. And I think, I don't know, for me, these clips are not the greatest. Either if you're going to go deep carry, make sure it's deep carry. Otherwise, I'm fine with a clip like, more similar to this. This is not a great clip, but you know what I mean. Something more similar to that. T6s, you could complain about a little bit. Honestly, though, there's not a whole lot to complain about. But I will say this. If you have large hands, this probably isn't the knife for you. Like I said, the ergos on this knife are fine for a knife this size. They're not shocking, it's not like, oh my gosh, this is so comfortable, it's just melting into my hand, whoa. No, not at all. But it's secure, I've got a good grip on this. However, if you've got bigger hands, I don't think you'll like this knife that much. This little area here could be pretty awkward for you. The clip might fall in a worse spot. The scales are a little bit slippery, so you're not going to have much purchase on it. Luckily, though, if you've got bigger hands, they have a bigger version. I really look forward to reviewing the bigger version, but I have not yet. That'll probably happen sometime this year. So if you're thinking about getting one of these knives and you have larger hands, probably avoid the mini. Alrighty, let's talk about the price. These go for around $55 to $60. And I think that price is fine. I wish Kershaw was using 14C28N on this, though. Like, Kershaw is the reason we have that steel on the market. Why don't they use it more? I get maybe they reserve it for like their USA made stuff. Okay, fine. Come on, Kershaw. Throw some 14C on this blade. The D2 is fine. Again, I don't mind D2, but I feel like 14C is just kind of the more acceptable standard these days. This D2 performed just fine. I don't really have many complaints with it, but I think it would have been cool to see that 14C28N. I think this is a cool knife. This may not be the most revolutionary knife in the industry as a whole, right? You know, we have seen so many drop point / spear point blades with crossbar locks that are 3 inches, blah, 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 blah. You know, this is not anything unique, new, or different, but to me, it kind of represents maybe a revitalization of Kershaw. The last couple of years, I think Kershaw's really been stepping it up. They're coming out with some bangers, and they're hitting hard. And I think this is a great showcase of what they're capable of and how much of an impact they can still have on the community these days. This is a great knife. This is a wonderful knife. And you can buy it at Walmart, which is a great thing. I want to see Kershaw doing more like this. I want Kershaw to show that they are still very much a competitor with anyone else, which I 100% believe they are. And they're not just cheapo knives that you buy at Walmart or your hardware store, right? They can do good stuff, even in the budget category. They've always been, you know, their autos and things have always been really well respected, but, you know, I think that they really, really need to show what they've got in that $45 to $65 price range, because I think they have the potential to really, really blow a lot of people away. And yeah, this is also a great knife for legal reasons. I kind of mentioned that at the beginning, but yeah, great knife for legal reasons. If you're in one of those 3-inch jurisdictions, I can recommend this knife 100%. So that's from it for today, guys. I like this knife. I do recommend it unless you have big hands, basically. This is a cool knife. If you're interested, definitely pick one up. Big shout out to my channel members at the Cowboy level. I appreciate everything they do for the channel. If you would like to become a channel member, there's a button down below. Feel free to click it and join. As for the rest of you rascals, I've been Gideon. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment below, and subscribe, and share it. And I'll see you in the next one. Adios.